Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kaniri Duncan. I'm a branch and marketing manager here at Fanaka Real Estate, Roy Branch. At our branch, we deal with property primarily along Kangundo. Kangundo Road stretches all the way from Caltex, that is the intersection of Outer Ring Road, all the way to Machakos. We deal in areas like Kamulu, Mala, Joska, Katafu, ultimately to Koma. We have properties in all those areas. But something interesting has happened. We now have properties in Nairobi County. With that, I have a gentleman here who I'd want him to introduce himself. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. So my name is Lawrence Kashanja. I am a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I'm the guest today, and I'm honored to be here.
Pleasure is all ours, considering the kind of insights you have.
Yes.
And you're bringing to this conversation. Ours is to make sure that we're having an informed discussion.
Yes.
And this is making sure that people know or they understand the processes involved, everything to the open. Hatutaki kuficha kitu. We have these properties in Nairobi County, and I wanted you to inform our viewers today. If they wanted to invest in property in Nairobi, what do they need to know? I think that is the first bit to start with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, of course, the investors will need to know that it is important to follow the due processes that are laid out in law. And the first process that they need to follow is, of course, to do the usual and normal things. You do a search. After that, you do an agreement. After that, there will be the transfer of land. But now there's something different about Nairobi County as opposed to now those other counties. There is this concept that was introduced, and that is the concept of the Ardhisasa platform. Because nowadays everything is done online, from search to undertaking the transfer and to actually getting the title. So the only thing you now go for at the lands office is the original title. That is the only physical thing you'll do. Actually, the only interaction that you will have with the lands office is when you're submitting the original title, which is now in the vendor's name or the person who is selling, in the name of the person who is selling, and then when you're now going to collect the already transferred title, meaning that the title will be in favor of the person who is buying.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
The other important thing becomes, what is the difference between, because you are very specific, that for Nairobi, there is something different. What happens between like Machakos? What would be the difference if I'm buying a land in Machakos County vis-a-vis one in Nairobi County?
So the difference between a title, especially and specifically those ones for Nairobi block, and the other ones for any other jurisdiction or area, is that in Nairobi, when you talk about a Nairobi block title, you do the transfer online. You also do the search online. If you go to other places, like for example, or other registries, say Machakos, Kiambu, or anywhere, Nyahururu, Nyeri, if you go to Kisumu, all those areas, you'll find that you'll be submitting papers physically, be it a search, be it a transfer. But in Nairobi, for example, if you're doing a search, it's online. If you're doing the transfer, it's online. And the only time you get to interact with the land registry is when you're submitting the original title, which displays the name of the person who is selling, so that the land registry can now transfer it to the person who is buying. So you'll only interact with the registry when you're taking the original title deed for purposes of transfer, and when you're collecting the title deed from the registry, and that title deed will already have been transferred
The purchase.
To the purchase as well. Yes.
That's a good one. The other question would be, I'm seated there.
Yes.
I want to start this process.
Yes.
Ideally, what you'll do as a viewer or as a person looking to invest, definitely you have to go check the property, make sure all the documentation are in hand. Now you're in the offices of Fanaka. What do I need? You've said the search can be done online, meaning that is something you can do with the purchaser there. What do I need? Take me through the journey.
Number one, I think legal guidance will be needed, because this thing, unlike those other areas, although even in those other areas like Machakos, an advocate is needed for purposes of signing the transfers and the sale agreement. In this one, you might require an advocate to carry you through everything because it's a new concept. But if you come now to, for example, to Fanaka, what we usually do, we are going to assist you to now open an Ardhisasa account on the Ardhisasa platform.
Allow me to cut you short.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Let's start there from the Ardhisasa bit.
Yeah. So an Ardhisasa account is like a portal, an online portal, which is by Ardhisasa, of course, but it is basically a portal in the Ministry of Lands where you do everything. You remember I told you that you do everything online. So this is where you do those things online. It's a portal. Yeah. So you log into the portal and then you start now doing the search. But now, if you're a new client and you do not have an Ardhisasa portal, the first thing if you're dealing with a Nairobi title would be to create an Ardhisasa account.
On the good one.
So after you create, now when you come to Fanaka, of course, we're going to assist you to create that Ardhisasa account so that you now, of course, the process is that you're going to have a copy of the title, which will be online.
This case they are in the office.
It is scanned. Yeah, so it is scanned. So we upload it now on the, we go, there's how you go to that section of doing a search. You then fill in, you key in the details, and then you now upload the scanned copy of the title, and then after that you finish the process. So immediately after you do that, now the application will go to now Fanaka's account, because even Fanaka Real Estate do have, or rather does have, an Ardhisasa account. So once you initiate now the process, Fanaka on the other side, now being the vendor, are going to accept
The request
because they
for
are going
search.
to log in. They accept the request for the search, and then after now they accept. Now you log in again if you have logged out, and then you'll see the search results. It's instant. Initially, we never used to pay anything for the searches, but nowadays, I think things keep on changing. We are paying 550.
That's a good one. If I got you correctly, the only requirements are the title deed.
Yes.
And the copy is supposed to be scanned and in the portal as advised.
Yeah, and then, of course, there are some details that you'll be requested to key in now in the system. Yeah, so that
Which are these details?
for example, of course, we have the block number. We key in the block number, and then after that, you're going to upload now the title, and then you'll have gone now to the section where the searches are done. Yeah.
Oh yeah. From there, you paid the 500. You say at 500.
50, it is instant.
Yeah.
So long as the vendor, now in this case being Fanaka, if they accept, you get your search. It is instant. Immediately after Fanaka now accepts, you get the search.
Now I'm comfortable that this is the other thing. In terms of us doing the search, the requirement or the expectation after having the search is that the person selling me the property, in this case, because you are very specific, it's Fanaka,
Yes.
the title should be reading Fanaka.
Yes.
What else will I be required? What else am I
Of course,
looking
you
for
look at
in
the normal things that you look for in a search. That the property does not have any burdens. And when I talk of burdens, I'm talking about things like encumbrances, restrictions, caveats, all those things. And then, as I always say, a search is a reflection of what is in the land registry, the records that are in the land registry, and it should also be a reflection of what is in the title deed. So when you compare the title deed and the search, they should give you the same information in terms of who is the owner, the size, when the title was, of course, processed, all those things. If there's any caveat, if there's any restriction, it's supposed to show.
I'm satisfied with the search.
So if you're satisfied to the search, then you move on, of course, to the other process of writing the agreement. Now what you'll require after you are through with the search is you now follow the other processes of purchasing land, and that is you enter into a sale agreement, You agree on the days, of course, that you're supposed to pay. Now, immediately after you finish, you'll come back to us again. And then we can assist you to now do the transfer online. Now, this one you can do either by yourself. If you have an advocate, you can also use your advocate to do that transfer for you. Yeah.
Assuming it was a one-off payment, I came, viewed the property, liked the property, did a search that confirmed that indeed whatever it is that was being sold is correct and accurate to that level. I made the payment. Could my search be transferred instantly? Rather, not my search, but my title.
The transfer. So, of course, there are documents that we need to, if you have finished paying, there are documents that you need to prepare. And that is, of course, we need to have the title deed ready. We also need the transfer form signed by all the parties. And then after that, we have the board resolution. So when you have now the KRA PIN and the ID, when you have all those things now, you can now easily go to the system and now initiate the transfer process. Again, it's online. So once you initiate that transfer process, you, of course, you can't do it by yourself. This time, the person to do it is the advocate who is doing the transfer. So, of course, as Fanaka, there's an advocate who is retained to do those jobs. But if a client maybe wants to do the transfer by themselves, then that mandate is moved to the advocate, because the advocates now are this. An advocate should have, by the way, I forgot to mention, an advocate should have an Ardhisasa account, and he has to register it as an advocate, not as a private person. So now an advocate is the one to key in all those information and then initiate now the transfer. After initiating that transfer, of course, now Fanaka are going to accept. They log into the portal again, they accept. Then, number one, I think the first step, which I might have failed to mention, is that you as the client, you have to accept on your portal. Now, as the buyer, you have to accept for representation, that you be represented by that particular advocate.
That is in an event where I don't want to do the process myself, right?
Yeah, but you have to log in either way, because now the property is coming to you. You have to log in, but you'll be directed by the advocate to log in. That is after the advocate has done the online application. So it comes to your account, it also goes to the vendor's account. So if it comes to now your account, you have to log in. There's a code that is usually sent, so you accept and then you sign on your part. Then the vendor has to do the same. Logs in. Now it's the company. The director logs in. After logging in, of course, there is a code that is sent. So he keys in that code and then he signs and then he completes. Now saying that he has accepted to be represented and that he's okay with the transfer happening. And then after that, there's a ticket that is given, and you're given an appointment to now take your title at Survey of Kenya. Nowadays it's not at the house, so you take it to Survey of Kenya. After taking it to Survey of Kenya, now you leave it there, so that now the government valuer is now going to come in and do the valuation, and everything is now happening online. You don't even know who is valuing. It is the valuer who will be selected. Don't know how they do their inside thing. So the valuer assesses the property. So after that, stamp duty is paid, and this time it's paid by the purchaser. So after paying the stamp duty, now the process is finalized now by the land registrars. There are people in the system I see being called investigating officer. They investigate the transfer, they pass it, and then it goes to the land registrar, and then the title is out. So you're called and told to go for your title, or you receive a text message.
Yeah, that's nice. So in terms of duration, what duration are we talking about? And this is specific to a person investing in a property in Nairobi County.
Yes. So there has been challenges with Ardhisasa. Actually, if you can remember well, there was a time even the advocates, I think, were on the streets protesting. But that thing has over time improved. At least nowadays I can say that the whole process, at most maybe in 2 months you should have your title. So long as now of course you're not late when it comes to paying stamp duty, because you see, you can get to a place and then of course the client tells you, I'm not in a position to pay stamp duty, we'll have to wait. So you see, now that will of course occasion some delay. Yeah. So,
that's good. That's good. I think the process, you've heard the process. Yes. As a side note, for having watched the video through, I think it's prudent that maybe you tell us the differences between the title. Okay. That is the title on Nairobi, with the jurisdiction of Nairobi County, and one with Machakos County, which we've continued to offer. We have a number of property around that. Yeah. And I think our listeners or our viewer, or those who continue to invest with us and wish to invest in Nairobi County, would appreciate having such information.
So there are two things that are obvious when you're dealing with the Nairobi titles, especially the ones that now Fanaka are selling. Those areas are, number one, rateable, meaning you have to pay land rates, and you also have to pay land rents. And the reason why you're paying rent is because they are leaseholds. Yeah, you know, on the other side of Machakos, if you go to like the Titus Feeding Donyosa book, they are absolute, or they are freehold, meaning that you're given by the government for free. On the other hand, this one you have of course been you are leasing it out from the government of Kenya. So the real owner is the government of Kenya, but you're given for a particular period of time, and this now being 99 years. Yeah, and maybe there's a question I know you would have asked. What happens after the 99 years?
I was actually going to ask that.
Yeah. So you apply for renewal of lease.
Do we go back to the process that we started?
Yeah, nowadays, of course, initially it was physical, but nowadays, of course, I believe you should do it online. Yeah, according to how now the things are going on.
That's good.
Yeah, but 99 years is quite a long time.
It's a good amount of time. I think the other thing that you'll be maybe expecting from you,
and then when you buy what you call the residual interest.
It's the question I wanted to ask.
99 years, you're buying the period that is remaining.
Meaning, if I have a property that was registered maybe in 2000, we're talking about a residual of how many years?
I'm not very good with mathematics.
Ideally, you're talking about what is remaining to 99.
Now, because we are in 2023, meaning 23 years, if we are talking about 2000, we are saying 23 years have passed. So you do your calculations, it will be 99 minus 33 years.
Yes. So when I'm buying from a vendor, it's not expected that the timing is going to start at the point of transfer. No. Rather, when the title was registered.
Yes. Because now things are there are things that you can't change. But again, you remember what I said. In the event now that the 99 years expire, you go back and do an application to renew. So it's still yours. So that is going to revert back to
the government.
To the government. Yeah.
That's very good.
Yes.
I hope you've had a lot of insights from Wakili, which is very good. We're still here. If you wanted to get more in-depth analysis of the same, our offices are in Roy Town, June Plaza. We ask you to pay us a visit here. We usually open daily, Monday to Sunday. Please come. Let's have this discussion. Let's tell you more about what you need to know when you're investing in properties around Nairobi. Because I can tell you, some of the properties we have in this block are one of the most ideal if you're looking for a commercial space. I'd urge you to come. Let's go. Let's have a view of these properties, and all these things will be made clear. Karibuni sana.
Fanaka Real Estate, your ideal real estate partner.